Hi friends, this is Caitlin here. I am a music educator, a homeschooling mom, and I've been educating my own kids for the last 4 years in our home. I have an education degree and a music minor, and I offer music education classes out of my home as well. So in today's video, I just wanted to show you guys some of the homeschooling curriculum that I use with my kids who are ages almost 5, 6, and 8. So this year we're going to be covering kindergarten through third grade. So most of my experience is in elementary at this point. And in this video, I wanted to show you the spelling, grammar, writing, and handwriting books and curriculum that we use. I've been noticing that a lot of people are interested in at least exploring homeschooling and seeing what options are out there, what it could look like for their family, but it can be really hard to know what is what. There is so much out there, and without being able to physically open a book and see what it is, it's really hard to know if that's going to be a good match for your family. So since we are trying to be socially distanced as much as possible, and I don't know all of you, I thought I would make some videos just to show you inside the books that I use. So first up, I have a spelling curriculum, and this is actually a new one that I'm going to try out this year. This would be for my first grader, and this is her first year in spelling. In the past, I have used other spelling curriculums, but I opted to try this year because it's all compact. It's a little more activity-based. I'll put it here, and there's a short activity for every day, like a page of work. What I find is that for our own schedule, we only do formal schooling in the morning because I give music classes all afternoon. So what I need is something that's going to be really easy. I can just pull out. I don't have to do any prep, and everything's laid out. And if I can explain it to my child and they can do it independently, that's even better, because then I can be helping the next child with what they need to do. So this is a book that is published by Evan Moore, and I'm going to talk about their workbooks quite a bit because I found a lot that I like. And this is a first grade level, so it starts very simply. It's starting with "and" words, or the "ah" sound. And from what I have seen of this, every week is very similar, just with a new set of words. And so you start out with, here we have 5 words, and you're supposed to copy the words, and then you can actually fold this page over, and then you can try to spell the words without actually seeing them. So that is the first day. On this part, we are looking at the shape of the word, and so you have to find the correctly shaped box to put each word in. I talked about this in the video where we talked about phonics, that recognizing the shape of a word is really helpful, as it helps you to increase your reading fluency, because we can see the shape of a word and we can just know what the word is without having to sound it out. So that's helping with that. And then down here we have to find any spelling mistakes, so we're using some critical thinking there. So it just goes through some different things. Here you're choosing which of the spelling words fits in that sentence. Here we have a rhyming match. Up here we're filling in the missing letter, and so we're really breaking the word apart to have to remember what letter is included. And then that's it for the first week. And then it would go into other word families for the other weeks. This particular book has, and then here at the back, see, I'm still exploring this curriculum. Here at the very back is a space for your spelling test. So 1 page per week. You can, give your kids orally say, how do you spell and use it in a sentence. And then if you want to, you can have your kids write a whole sentence. That's probably something that I would skip this year just because I know where my first grader is, and that would probably be a little too much. But yeah, so that's what that is. Oh, I was going to see how many lessons there are. This covers 30 weeks, so that's going to cover your whole school year very easily, just doing one lesson per week. So that is Spelling by Evan Moore. Again, it's my first year using it, so I can only say what I like about what I see. I don't know how it's going to go with my own kids, but it looks like it's going to be fun. It's making it simple. We're not making this more complicated than we need to, and it looks like it's going to encourage independent learning and independent writing, which I'm always game for. So that is spelling. The grammar and punctuation that I use I don't start this till first grade. A lot of things can wait. Like kindergarten doesn't need to be really, really complicated. I cover reading and math and handwriting, which I will get into in this video. Everything else we wait till first grade, and we maybe even will wait past that depending on the child. So these are, again, by Evan Moore. These are leveled books by grade. So I just take whatever grade my kid's in, and that's the book we're going to do this year. These are exciting to my kids, and they're exciting to me because they're so colorful. A lot of books are just black and white. They're not super, super exciting. Makes them cheaper to buy, which is fantastic. But this particular one, it's full color, and it's really, really fun. So we, again, just like the spelling book, this is divided up into weeks, and sometimes we would find some of the activities were very easy, so we could do a couple pages and go through things a little faster. So you start with a story, and certain words are in color, and then you come down here and you are given your grammar rule, and those words are in color. And so then you can find them up here in your story. And then there's also some kind of a punctuation. This is, you want to say hi to the video? No? This is my daughter who will be using this book this year. I'm just explaining what our grammar is going to be. And then we go through that and... Grammar, not grandma. And then we go on and we keep getting opportunities to use those grammar rules and the punctuation throughout the rest of the week. And so it's like a lot of workbooks. There's fill in the blanks, there are word banks, and you have to choose what is going to fit. For this particular week, it's talking about common nouns, so like person, place, thing, or animal. And so you're going to use your nouns from your word bank, and you're going to fill them in. There's some riddles over here, and then you're going to get some work with your end punctuation. This is question marks, periods, and exclamation points, and so you get a chance here to answer some questions. Over here we have like a little activity where you only color in the nouns. We have some matching. There's some writing opportunities. And then you end with a review. And every week is the same. It's always starting with a story and kind of goes through a very similar thing. One thing you may find as you explore different curriculums and you actually start doing them with your child is you might see there's a bit of overlap from one thing to the other. Like, I'm already seeing for all of the curriculum I've chosen for my kids that there's going to be a lot of overlap with writing. And so I might choose, on one day, if they have to write a ton for every single topic, I might choose that they can orally answer a few things, just to not take out all the joy and not make it, not that writing is unjoyful, but sometimes it can become very tiring. It can become very tedious. And so, like, this would be a good example of if they had a lot of writing already that day, or I know they have a lot of writing coming up, then maybe they tell me what we should write here and they dictate, but they would have to dictate very thoroughly and make sure that they are, that they demonstrate they know what their proper ending punctuation is, or that they are demonstrating that they know what the the common noun is for that. So I think it's good for everyone to know and to realize that it's okay to accommodate your child's particular set of needs. Even with my own 3 kids, some of them need different things, and so school looks a little different for each of them, and that is one of the fantastic things about homeschooling. We don't want to handicap our children and make things too easy, but we also might recognize that some things are just, they're not ready for yet, and it's okay to accommodate that. Okay, so same kind of book, but this is the 3rd grade level, so it's going to be the same. Starts with a story, which covers a lot of reading comprehension, because there's going to be questions about it later, and then it covers more advanced grammar rules. So this is talking about singular nouns versus plural nouns, and it starts simply again with ending punctuation, but it's going to period, question mark, exclamation point, but it will get harder much more quickly. So again, more activities. You've got kind of logic puzzles here. There's going to be some kind of writing aspect for every week. And then there's always a review at the end. And for this particular book, the review is another passage that they want to read. So you do get a lot of reading practice with this book. So you get some reading practice, and then you have to answer some questions down here. And there's even a writing prompt at the bottom. So if you wanted to, this book could cover your reading, your formal reading, and your writing and your grammar, depending on how thoroughly you did it. I have some other things for those too, partially just because I have an education background and I really like to make sure I have something for every topic. But you could combine a couple topics with that one book. So that is Grammar and Punctuation, again by Evan Moore. Now another company that I really like, that I use for handwriting, and this year I'm also going to use for writing exercises, is Handwriting Without Tears. And I've also used them for keyboarding, for typing. They have good programs there too. Now I'm going to start with the kindergarten handwriting. Handwriting is one of those things that it is really important. It's not very exciting really, but if you don't cover it really well in the younger grades, like kindergarten, 1st grade, then you really start to see this snowball effect of not being able to form letters very well, or having your letters reversed, not being confident which direction letters go, and also just not having the stamina to write for a long time. That's a mistake that I made with my oldest, and I'm still trying to work him back up to what I think his proper 3rd grade level of writing should be. Poor oldest child was the guinea pig, so now my youngest kids don't get any breaks, because I know that I want them to have a really, really strong writing. So anyway, this is Handwriting Without Tears. This is the kindergarten level, and the couple of things that really stand out with this versus other handwriting curriculums are that, let me get to the page I want to look at. There are little sayings for every action that you do. So like a lot of curriculums, you start at the dot, right, and that's your starting of your letter, but then there are little sayings that go with it. So this is called big line, and anytime you have a letter that starts with that line in this book, it's going to be called big line. So F E, P, B, D, they will all start with that big line, and it's going to say big line. And then for this one, it says you do a frog jump back up to the starting point, and that's what this little illustration here is. So you frog jump back up, and then you continue your letter, and that will also be used with other letters, like with definitely with F and E, and they group them all together. So you're going to do all of the ones that start similarly. So all of the letters that start with the big line, you do first. You won't go through alphabetical order. Instead, you'll go through the similar motions first, and then N and M, and then there is a review here of all of those letters that start the same way, that have the big line and then the frog jump back up to the top. So I like that you really master one motion before you go on to something completely different. It helps to organize it, I think, and it helps to create muscle memory. So that it's easier, like it's easier for the child. And then you get into some other ones that also start with a big line, but you don't do frog jump, you do something else. And so it will go through similar letters. This one goes through all of the capital letters first, and then there's like a capital review here, and then you're going to start learning the lowercase letter. And then with the lowercase letters, you start with magic C. So C will be your first letter, and then you'll go through any letter that starts with that C shape. So we do C, we do O, S, and then there's even some kind of, this is more of a fill in the missing letters. So this has you fill in all of the S's that are missing. Later on in the more advanced grades, there are also like copy work things where you copy sentences and you try to do it in your very best handwriting and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of the gist of it, and it will go through and it will review. Eventually it links, let's see if we can get to that point. It links the capital letter with the lowercase. Actually, I think it did that at the very beginning. Did that anyway. So you start to see, oh, this is what the capital looks like, this is how big the capital is, the lowercase is much smaller, and so you see like exactly how big they should be. So that is kindergarten. I also have first grade, which looks similarly. It also will start with the capital letters, and then it's also going to include numbers, and it'll go through it a little more quickly because it assumes that you've been writing a little bit. Goes through the lower cases. The main difference is you're going to get a lot more chances to use the letters in words instead of just copying the letter by itself. You're going to put it into other things. And again, there's going to be some more copy work here. Here towards the end, you're writing quite a bit. It does a pretty good job of stepping you up and kind of waiting for your hand to gain the strength and your fine motor skills to develop the skills. So that is that. This would be a third grade level. It's similar. It's just going to go through and have more, just more chances to practice even more letters. I've also done a cursive curriculum, and it does it very well. You wait 1 second. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you that is new for us this year is a writing curriculum that's also put out by Keyboarding Without Tears, or Learning Without Tears is actually what it's called. And this will be new for us, but we are going to go through it. I'm going to do kindergarten, first grade, and third grade, so all kids will get a chance to do it. And it introduces us to how to build a story, how to have a beginning, middle, and ending. And it starts by walking us through those steps, by giving us some sentences to copy, and then you get a chance later on to build the story yourself, and you might get like the beginning of a story. Like here it says, it was Dave's turn to bat. And then there are some pictures up here that show you different things that Dave is doing, and you have to create the next several sentences, make your story make sense, but you have a little more independence so that you're starting to build stories on your own. And then I'm going to have you sit here, okay? And then as you get further in, it gives more freedom to the child to write a little more. It goes through different kinds of writing. You do story writing, informative writing, and different kinds of informative writing. There's like, write about an animal. This is a little writing about Frida Kahlo. And then doing some opinions and argument writing too. So you get a little bit into like taking a stance and defending it, even at first grade, which I think is pretty cool. I was a debater in high school, so that kind of is cool to me. This is the third grade. It's similar. It goes through the same three, I think this one goes through 4 different kinds of writing. We have story writing, informative writing, the opinions, arguments, but it also covers some poetry. So we get to do like haikus for a couple of pages. And it also gives opportunity to like illustrate. This is a section that says, can you write about your favorite book? So you're going to illustrate it and then give a few sentences about your favorite book. I have it as well for kindergarten, and this is something I'm probably, I might wait until maybe the second half of the school year to introduce to my kindergartner, but it's much more simple. It does a lot more with narrative writing, illustrating a little bit. This will be for Ezra. A little bit of illustrating. Here you can have the option of either copying the sentences or creating similar sentences of your own. Here you get to yeah. So yeah, let's talk about this page. So this, you get to write a story about what this plumber is doing. So we have a picture of a toilet being broken, a picture of a plumber, and then a picture of a fixed toilet. So we start with the beginning sentence. Each sentence begins with the, now, the. So we're learning how to tell a story in order based off of picture prompts. So I think it's very well organized, and I think it's going to be fun. The one nice thing about the pictures being just outlines is that it also gives some coloring opportunity if you want to do any illustrating. The same company also creates these writing journals, which are just blank with lined pages and then space for illustrations. So this we'll probably use for maybe just some fun journal writing. And we might use it maybe after we've gotten a little bit of our writing experience in with these other books that have taught us a little bit more how to properly create our stories. So that is what I use for, what have we covered? Spelling, grammar, handwriting, and story writing. Thank you. And this is just what I found works for us. And there are lots and lots of other things out there, but now you've seen inside of these books, and maybe they would be good options for you. So I hope that's helpful. If you have found it to be helpful, please feel free to share with other people that may benefit from seeing some curriculum.